How do French cooks transform daily drudgery into art? Follow these classic French techniques and take your cooking from blah to ooh la la. Mise en place might sound fancy, but it simply means gathering all of your ingredients prepped and in the correct measurements and placing them close at hand in your workspace. This prep work allows you to concentrate on cooking and helps to avoid mistakes, such as allowing a sauce to burn as you hunt down an ingredient. But even if you're competent enough to cook effectively without a mise en place, it is still strongly advised that you build one so that you can fully immerse yourself in the moment. As chef and culinary instructor Barbara Rich explained to Insider, cooking is a lot more enjoyable when you're organized, and getting ready to cook is almost as important as cooking. Poor butter. In the early 20th century, this creamy condiment had its reputation tainted by negative and often false marketing campaigns. Advertisements touted alternative forms of cooking fats as healthier, cleaner, and tastier.
Chiffon margarine? Oh no, it's my butter, all right.
Chiffon fooled even you, Mother Nature.
It's not nice to fool Mother Nature.
It is only now, some 100 years later, that opinions on butter are reverting from one of fear to one of reverence. While many Americans still prefer to flirt with alternatives to butter, French cuisine has always championed the dairy product, emphasizing its use at every turn. The result, as you would expect, is food that is huge on flavor. Thankfully, this advice is extremely easy to adopt in any kitchen, as adding extra butter will greatly improve the final taste and texture of most dishes.
Is there anything better than butter?
In an interview on the Love Food blog, Chef James Martin explained, "Anybody who is a chef will tell you that you can't cook without butter." Sauces are one of the hallmarks of French cuisine, with the 5 mother sauces being the most well-known, including tomato, bechamel, and hollandaise sauces. From these 5 mother sauces springs hundreds of daughter sauces. And while sauce is an essential key of French cuisine, this step is often overlooked by the home cook. A perfectly made sauce marries a dish's different flavors together while also providing much-needed moisture, especially when meat is involved. Yet fantastic sauces do not come easy. Time and effort must be invested to create the depth of flavor for which they are celebrated. Aside from this flavor, an added bonus to homemade sauces is that they are likely to be much healthier for you than store-bought alternatives. It is not uncommon for the amateur cook to spend hours toiling away to create a great meal and then just slapping the food onto a plate when it's time to eat. Of course, the meal will still taste delicious, but the appearance may leave a little to be desired. French cooking reminds us that eating is an experience that uses all 5 senses, and that careful presentation should be prioritized just as much as flavor. French chefs are often known for their superb presentation, from the theatrical masterpieces of Michel Roux Jr. to the artistic flourishes of Joël Robuchon's restaurants. Yet for home cooks, these masterpieces can be intimidating. Boston chef Brian Poe told the Lightspeed blog why it's vital to banish these doubts. Presentation should be approached just like art, cooking, and music. Take a moment to relax and look at what the others are doing, learn a bit of the technique, and then find your own voice and style. By taking care with your presentation, you create an experience that is not only more enjoyable, but also more memorable. For plating novices, it's best to focus on color, size, and texture, aiming to create variation while remaining mindful of empty space. Technique is integral to all forms of cooking. Not only does it ensure the dish's final quality, but also that it can be made consistently, an essential skill for every cook. And French cooking is known for being particularly technique-driven. While dedicating time to honing basic French techniques, such as knife skills, sauce making, and sautéing may seem like a waste of time, given that most cooks can perform a version of them already, doing them correctly will elevate your cooking and provide you with a solid base for further culinary exploration. As Chef Patrice Martineau said in an interview with the Manual Online, classic French technique is the foundation of all cuisines in the world. In my opinion, it is the most important thing to learn. He then went on to say, "Too many people jump into trying to craft unique dishes before learning the basics of cooking, only being able to make fusion food with no real technique to speak of. For me, that fusion can just be confusion." While juicy meats and perfectly cooked vegetables take center stage in French cuisine, herbs also play a vital role, especially when it comes to flavor. Both dried and fresh are used throughout the cooking process, with herb de Provence and tarragon being among the most popular. And as far as salt and spices, many home cooks fail to use them to the correct degree, fearing that they might overpower the dish. All chefs can learn from French cuisine's liberal use of herbs. For example, a handful of tarragon can temper rich sauces, and using lesser-known herbs such as verbena, meadowsweet, and hawthorn can really pay off. As French-born Michelin-starred chef Jeremy Guillon explained to the famed Michelin Guide, "Each herb is quite versatile and entirely depends on which expression or course of the menu I choose to incorporate the herbs in." As cooking has changed over time, certain types of dishes have found themselves placed on the back burner, literally. Among these are stews, whose humble old-school appearance has caused them to be sidelined in favor of more Instagram-worthy dishes. But stews have always been a vital part of French cuisine, and that tradition carries on today through ever-popular classics such as beef bourguignon, also known as bouffe bourguignon.
Boeuf bourguignon. Julia Child's boeuf bourguignon.
And when it comes to stews, we should all follow France's lead. After all, stews are among the most flavorful and comforting dishes around. What's more, making a good stew need not be a complicated process. The vast majority of the flavor comes from trusting a gentle simmer to work its magic over a long period of time. The end result might not win you hundreds of new followers, but will definitely leave you satisfied. While there are many aspects of French cooking that people disagree on, one thing is seen as fact. French food is all about refinement and simplicity. Speaking to the Luxeat blog, culinary legend Jacques Pepin explained the importance of this simplicity. Young chefs try to add this and that to the plate, but when you get older, you try to remove unnecessary things and leave the essential one. Just remember, no matter what dish you are preparing, keeping your cooking simple will allow your few choice ingredients to sing.
For me, there is nothing easier to make than crêpes. When I was a kid, my mother made crêpes all the time.
What's more, a reduction in processes will reduce hands-on cooking time, cleanup time, and opportunities for mistakes to be made. All great reasons for home cooks to strive for simplicity whenever possible. Finally, a reduction in the number of things on the plate will make other culinary tasks, such as sourcing good quality ingredients and presentation, that much easier. Great food begins with great produce, the building blocks upon which all of a dish's flavors and textures are built. And high-quality ingredients are even more important when a stripped-back, simple approach is taken, because the ingredients have no place to hide. This is a fact that some chefs like Russell Norman, owner of Polpo and a cookbook author, relish. In an interview with the Independent newspaper, he noted, "There is an inverse relationship between the quality of ingredients and the preparation time of a restaurant dish. If your ingredients are simple but exceptional, you need to do less to them." In French cooking, everything from top-quality Burgundy wine to soft brie and punchy shallots are used to add bold flavor to dishes. And while not all of us have access to these products, being mindful of where and how you buy your ingredients can instantly upgrade your cooking. As always, fresh is best.
You get the purple and white?
Just orange.
Just orange?
But if buying high-quality ingredients is not economically viable for you, don't despair. Focus on ensuring the star of your dish is the best you can afford, as this will be where most of your diner's attention is focused. This is especially true when it comes to animal protein, such as beef, chicken, and fish. We have seen how quality ingredients and different cooking processes both result in flavor. The next question, how to meld these flavors together to create the perfect final dish. Balancing, creating, discarding, and manipulating flavors is all part of a process called layering. Layering is a vital culinary process. It allows a dish to become complex without being confused, interesting instead of off-putting. It also happens to be one of the most difficult techniques to master, as the Michelin-starred chef Anne-Sophie Pic explained to BBC Travel. That's the challenge, being bold in the kitchen but always preserving harmony. It's all about the subtlety of the tempo. Fortunately, there are a few simple ways of beginning to build and layer flavor. Here is where technique comes into play. Try mixing different techniques on a plate. Perhaps meat could be roasted and vegetables sautéed. The addition of garnishes and sauces can also add extra dimensions to the plate while bringing it all together.
Okay, we're gonna add a little bit of white wine. Let that reduce. And then you've got some hot stock. Let that deglaze the bottom of the pan.
Finally, remember to not become disheartened. Learning to layer will take a lot of practice, as it is only through tasting combinations of flavors and textures that you can understand what works and what doesn't. The meaning and importance of food, cooking, and meal times varies greatly from culture to culture, and also from decade to decade. However, some countries like France have managed to maintain respect for these practices across centuries. Claude Fischler, a French sociologist and anthropologist, explained the differences between modern approaches to food between France and the United States in an interview with the Guardian newspaper. In the US, the dominant conception of food is nutritional. In contrast, the French have a culinary conception of food, putting the emphasis on flavor and pleasure.
Good food is like music you can taste, color you can smell. There is excellence all around you.
Fischler went on to describe the results of a survey highlighting differences between French and American approaches to food. In our surveys, we asked French and American people to say what they associated with various words. When we suggested chocolate cake, the Americans thought of guilt, the French, birthdays. While switching from a U.S. approach to a French one might take time and effort, the ability to approach food as a sensual experience is one that can bring joy into your life and your kitchen, regardless of culinary skill level. One way to start? Just try slowing down your cooking and eating rituals. Savor the food and the moment.
Do not eat. Taste.
We've already seen how the low and slow approach benefits dishes like beef bourguignon. However, the benefits of this technique extends far beyond stews. This is because slow, gentle, and prolonged cooking over a low heat results in processes that cannot be replicated by any other means. The most obvious example of this is caramelizing onions, an integral part of the Parisian classic French onion soup, though cooking at low heat actually benefits a great number of dishes, such as eggs. Using the French low-heat cooking approach when making scrambled eggs results in a finished dish that is softer, richer, and more luxurious than the overcooked, rubbery alternative commonly found elsewhere in the world. All you need is a little patience, and the benefits of low-heat cooking will soon become apparent. While the French cooking tips presented here are not an exhaustive list, mastering them will help you form a solid culinary foundation that sets you up for success. French cuisine offers countless lessons and tricks that, when mastered, will elevate your gastronomic skills to new heights. Bon appétit!
Bon appétit!
Bon appetit!
Bon appetit.